Banks free to fix interest rates, RBI. This topic will be important under General Studies Paper 3. Indian Economy and Issues Relating to Planning, Mobilization of Resources, Growth, Development and Employment. Why recently in news? Reserve Bank of India, RBI, has allowed banks to fix their own interest rates on gold deposits under the Gold Monetization Scheme. In this regard, RBI has issued guidelines mentioning banks are free to set interest rates such as principal and interest on the deposit denominated in gold. Designated banks will accept gold deposits under the short-term bank deposit, 1-3 years, medium, 5-7 years, and long-term, 12-15 years, government deposit schemes. The interest on the gold deposits will be credited in the accounts on the respective due dates and will be periodically withdrawable, that is at maturity of the deposits. Short-term bank deposits will be applicable cash reserve ratio, CRR, and statutory liquidity ratio, SLR. There is no bar for maximum gold deposit, but the minimum deposit at one time should be raw gold equivalent to 30 grams of 995 fineness standard. The raw gold should be in the form of coins, bars, jewelry excluding stones and other metals. Individual banks will determine the provision for premature withdrawal subject to a minimum lock-in period and along with the penalty. The designated banks may sell or lend the gold accepted under the Deposit to Metals and Minerals Trading Corporation, MMTC, of India for minting India gold coins, IGC, and to jewelers, or sell it to other designated banks. The Cabinet approved gold bond and gold monetization schemes to reduce the metals demand in physical form and fish out idle gold lying with households and other entities. Gold monetization scheme. Around 1,000 tons of gold is imported annually, and people hold such quantum of idle gold just for investment purpose every year. By taking advantage of gold monetization scheme, people can deposit idle gold with authorized agencies and take advantage of the price escalation of gold as well as earn interest on the deposit. Gold collected from consumers will first be cleaned and measured at test centers. It would then be melted to test for purity. After the tests, consumers can either deposit the gold for a fee or take it back after paying a nominal fee. Those willing to deposit the gold will be given a certificate mentioning the amount and purity of the deposited gold. Banks will open a gold savings account on the basis of such certificates. Consumers will be paid interest on their gold savings account after 30-60 days of account opening. The amount of interest rate to be given is proposed to be left to the banks to decide. Both principal and interest will be paid to the depositors of gold, will be valued in gold. For example, if a customer deposits 100 grams of gold and gets 1% interest, then on maturity he has a credit of 101 grams. The customer will have the option of redemption either in cash or in gold, which will have to be exercised in the beginning itself, that is, at the time of making the deposit. The tenure of the deposit will be minimum 1 year and in multiples of 1 year. Like a fixed deposit, breaking of locking period will be allowed. Gold savings account will be exempt from capital gains tax, wealth tax and income tax. About gold bond scheme. The budget 2015-16 had proposed to launch a sovereign gold bond, SGB, scheme to develop a financial asset as an alternative to gold. The bonds will be issued in 2, 5 and 10 grams of gold or other denominations, and the tenor of the bond could be for a minimum of 5-7 years. Why India needs a gold policy? 1. To establish an India Gold Exchange to ensure pricing standardization, increase transparency and improve supply and demand analysis. 2. To establish a gold board to manage imports, encourage exports and facilitate development of the infrastructure needed to ensure the Indian gold market functions to maximum effect. 3. To develop accredited refineries in line with international standards, including upscaling the current domestic refineries. 4. To allow Indian banks to use gold as part of their liquidity reserves. This would incentivize them to introduce gold-based savings products. 5. To drive monetization of gold by incentivizing banks, revitalize gold deposit schemes, introduce gold-backed investment and savings products. 6. To create a more active marketing strategy for Indian handcrafted jewelry. This could boost exports and highlight India's expertise in this highly valued sector, for example by promoting handcrafted India-made jewelry like the Swiss-made watches. 7. To drive the standardization of gold so that buyers and sellers can have faith in both the quality and price of their products. Introduce guidelines for compulsory quality certification of all forms of gold to encourage accountability and foster an environment of trust. 2. India-China Joint Exercise Hand in Hand, 2015 concludes. This topic will be important under General Studies Paper 3 Disaster and Disaster Management. Why recently in news? India-China Joint Military Training Exercise Hand in Hand 2015 concluded at Kunming Military Academy in Yunnan Province of China. It was 5th edition of the exercise between the two countries, which had started on the 12th of October 2015. The 12-day exercise concluded with a joint field exercise between armies of both countries, followed by a closing ceremony. Participating troops from both sides learned and trained together from each other in mixed groups on basic individual skills and comprehensive combat skills. The joint exercise also met its stated objectives by exchanging experience on counter-terrorist training and conducting counter-terrorist operations. It also enhanced mutual trust and understanding and promoted healthy military relations between the two armies. This edition of exercise also gave emphasis on joint handling of counter-terrorism, insurgency at subunit level and related issues. It also covered aspect of humanitarian assistance and disaster relief at formation headquarters level. It should be noted that the hand-in-hand series of joint military exercise between armies of India and China was started in 2007. 3. RSPY failing to provide risk cover. This topic will be important under General Studies Paper 3. Welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of the population by the center and states and the performance of these schemes. Why recently in news? An evaluation of the Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana (RSPY) has concluded that the RSPY scheme has had little or no impact on medical impoverishment in India. The assessment was conducted by the Council for Social Development and the report is titled, India, Social Development Report 2014. The authors of the study compared data before and after the launch of RSPY to understand the emerging trends in out-of-pocket expenditure for medical care in India. The aim of the study was to study the impact of RSPY and evaluate how much financial risk protection it granted to beneficiaries. Why RSPY implementations have failed. According to the study, a major design flaw in RSPY and other such state health insurance programs is their narrow focus on secondary and tertiary care hospitalization. The study also says that RSPY was being used mostly by those who already had better access to healthcare services, and the most marginalized sections were being excluded further. RSPY and similar state-run health schemes are designed with the intention to address low-volume, high-value financial transactions that could result in catastrophic expenditure and impoverishment of households. However, these evidences suggest the opposite trend. Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana (RSPY). RSPY was launched by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India to provide health insurance coverage for below poverty line (BPL) families. Beneficiaries under RSPY are entitled to hospitalization coverage up to Rs. 30,000 for most of the diseases that require hospitalization. Government has even fixed the package rates for the hospitals for a large number of interventions. Pre-existing conditions are covered from day one and there is no age limit. Coverage extends to 5 members of the family, which includes the head of household, spouse and up to 3 dependents. Beneficiaries need to pay only Rs. 30 as registration fee while central and state government pays the premium to the insurer selected by the state government on the basis of a competitive bidding. 4. SpyCam project fails to click. This topic will be important under General Studies Paper 3. Security challenges and their management in border areas. Linkages of organized crime with terrorism. Why recently in news? A pilot project to install high-resolution surveillance cameras along the China border, undertaken in 2013 to monitor the movement along the line of actual control, LAC, has failed to give the desired results and the government is now rethinking its strategy. The project was initiated in 2014 in the wake of the 21-day face-off with the People's Liberation Army (PLA) of China at Tupsang Valley in the Ladakh region. Initially, it was planned to install surveillance cameras along the unmanned pockets on the China border. It was decided that the cameras would be put up at 50 locations in Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Sikkim and Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh. The cameras were to relay live feed in a 20 to 25 kilometers range to help the security personnel deployed there to plan patrolling in vulnerable areas more effectively. The pilot project was taken up at Thakang Post, which is a high-altitude terrain. However, the weather is not favorable there as high-velocity winds and frost tend to blur the images. It has not been possible to establish proper links. The official order does its own surveillance with the help of unmanned aerial vehicles, but this also has its limitations. China has a robust surveillance system on its side. They have put up a well-knit surveillance network on their side. India has always maintained that incidents of transgressions occur due to difference in perception regarding the border. 5. Japan offers India soft loan for $15 billion bullet train virtually free. This topic will be important under General Studies Paper 1. Indian Geography, Transport and Communications. Why recently in news? Japan has offered to finance India's first bullet train, estimated to cost $15 billion, at an interest rate of less than 1%. Tokyo was picked to assess the feasibility of building the 505-kilometer corridor linking Mumbai with Ahmedabad. Japan's decision to give virtually free finance for Modi's pet program is part of its broader pushback against China's involvement in infrastructure development in South Asia. The two projects are part of a diamond quadrilateral of high-speed trains over 10,000 kilometers of track that India wants to set up connecting Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. Diamond Quadrilateral. The Diamond Quadrilateral is a project of the Indian Railways to establish high-speed rail network in India. This quadrilateral will connect the four metro cities in India, that is Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. This project is similar to Golden Quadrilateral, which is a roadway project which connects the four metros by expressways. The Golden Quadrilateral falls under National Highways Development Project, which has helped to build better road transport in India. Similarly, to improve country's rail infrastructure, there is a need to implement high-speed trains, bullet trains. So to fulfill this demand, the Diamond Quadrilateral project was planned. India today is planning to start semi-high-speed trains on 9 corridors and has ambition to run bullet trains in future. High-speed train on Mumbai-Ahmedabad section will be the first bullet train corridor to be implemented in the country. On the 9th of June 2014, the President of India Pranab Mukherjee officially mentioned that the government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch a Diamond Quadrilateral project of high-speed trains. This corridor will be operated on broad-gauge tracks. The major terminals will be at Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Thiruvananthapuram, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Kolkata. The corridor will pass through 14 states and territories in India. These states are Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Haryana, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Odisha, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal.